Well, how are we, ladies and gentlemen? This is, I guess you could say that this is historical or hysterical. Well, actually, it's a combination of both. For the first time in the history of this country, we have a president of the United States going on trial. Now, that might not seem, put it this way, that might not be as strange as it sounds. We've had vice presidents on trial, and pretty kind of close to what we have Trump going up to bat for now. You're talking about the neighborhood of treason. Well, old Aaron Burr, I believe he was our second vice president, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, second or third vice president. And he got himself somehow hooked up in the Southwest, and many thought that it was an attempt at treason. So this is kind of right up Donald's alley. Now, I tell you, what I see that is so dangerous about this moment, and let's take a look at something here. How'd this happen? It happened because in this country, you have a lot of hate, okay? You have a lot of self-contempt. You have a lot of racism. You have, and let's be real here, you have a certain amount or a certain segment of our white American brothers and sisters who feel that somehow, because we have a black president, and because of the fact that we get a little annoyed when we see black people shot down by police and they don't have weapons, the victims of the shootings, I mean. And because of those factors, you have a group that thinks that the country is against them. Well, what is that crap that Bill Maher was talking about? Oh, they feel that the Democrats are just looking out for the LGBT community and women and, you know, people of colors. The minorities, in other words. And when you have that frame of mind, it's very easy for people to take advantage of you. Now, I'm not going to try and talk fast today, okay? As a matter of fact, it might seem like I'm speaking real slow. Now, I'm not going to be speaking so slow as to put you to sleep. But I want people to actually think about what I'm saying, okay? That's one of the problems that we have in this country, among many. But the idea that we just hop on our little iPads and cell phones and beep, 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 and you know, actually, that's great for calculating things, okay? How far is the Earth from the moon? But when it comes to the big things, government, philosophy, history, things that you need to know and understand, no, I think that to a point, our electronic gizmos, they serve a purpose. But it has to be more than just calculating. See, the idea that all people are created equal, which doesn't mean that, hey, well, you know, this guy, he gets 100 in every math test. And this guy here, he can never figure out his checkbook. Are they equal in that regard? Hell no. And no, someone that has a bachelor's degree academically is not equal to somebody that just got a 7th grade education. I'm sorry, life doesn't work that way. But what the equal means is that because I might be academically superior to you, that doesn't give me any more rights, you see. Because I'm wealthier than you, because I have a bank account, and you don't. When you get paid from your little job, you go to the check cashing place to cash your check because you don't have a bank account. So am I superior to you? Hell yeah. But if I get the bright idea to hit a liquor store, and when I say hit, I mean to rob it, and you just happen to be in the area, and somehow me and my lawyer find out about this, well, guess what? Under the laws of Anglo-American society, because I'm a smart guy with a nice bank account, I shouldn't have any more rights in that courtroom than my pal Joey, who's economically down in the bottom. No. And see, these are the things that we have yet to intelligently grapple with. I mean, we have come close from time to time. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, the Great Society. We've come close, but we haven't hit that mark yet. Now, somebody might ask, well, what the hell is he talking about, the Great Society and FDR's New Deal? What's that got to do with this guy Trump? Well, the understanding of what the New Deal and what the Great Society was supposed to be about, it ties in directly with this business with Trump. Because go to one of those Trump rallies or watch it on TV. Look at the type of people who attend those things. Look at the type of people that walk around saying, well, I will trust the word of Donald Trump before I trust the word of God. Yeah. A lot of those people, as I was saying earlier, a lot of those poor folks, they don't get it. They don't understand the fact that the way that this country is run and has been running is a source of our problems. And to a large extent, it is the source of our problem. Why, supposedly you being a patriotic American, why would you run up and down the street saying, yeah, I support Donald. There's a witch hunt. They're after him. Now, you are a low-income, working-class white guy, okay? why are you so obsessed with what happens to, according to him, he says he is a billionaire? What, I mean, just from practical living experience, you know, I'm willing to die so that this guy can keep his fancy mansion and his gold toilet seats and his jet plane with the gold toilet seats and all this other crap. Does that make sense to you? At least, especially the boys from New England, back in 1776, they didn't say, well, I'm dying because I want to keep that slave-owning, plantation-owning George Washington. I want to keep him in power. No, when they died for liberty. Remember Nathan Hale? That school teacher. Teacher, you hear that, Republicans? Teacher. Who became an officer in Washington's army and volunteered to become an undercover agent. And unfortunately, he was caught by the Brits. And if I'm not mistaken, he was a Yalie. In other words, he graduated from Yale. And what happened? They asked him for any last words. And old Nathan Hale said, I regret I have but one life to give to my country. He didn't say, I regret I have but one life to give for George Washington. He said, I regret I have but one life to give to my country. Come on, man, you guys went to school, right? You got that in school, didn't you? Well, maybe that's part of the problem. The things that need to be taught, they stopped teaching quite some time ago. But see, anybody that is fortunate enough to get a position of leadership in this country, that's it. You're supposed to be there to lead, to educate. You're not there to be worshiped. And what Trump has been able to do with about 25% of the population, he is just like Helter Skelter. Some of you might not be old enough to remember the Manson family in the 60s. But, you know, they became their own crew and went around murdering people in the nice homes in Hollywood because they felt, well, Manson felt that this would be a great way to start a race war. And the more I think about Donald Trump, the more he is starting to look like the Manson. What's the first name? John? The Manson family. And when you sit down and think about it, it's like a religion, you know, these cultists. You had that nut down in Texas, in Waco. In the Navy, we always called it Waco, but, you know, Waco, Texas. You had the other goofball with all the Kool-Aid, poison Kool-Aid. I can't remember his name, but you know, down in Guyana. And that's what you have with Trump, right? Trump has created a cult. And all of those, they talk about the base, right? Well, that, to a large part, that's that Republican base. They believe that the country has deserted them, that the so-called ruling class has deserted them. And that's why their life is crap. Well, unfortunately, they have a point. Actually, they have a very good point. But see, that's where the whole race thing comes in, right? The race, the sex, stopping a woman from her right to seek an abortion when she feels it's necessary. And what they will do, what this cult will do, they will attack immigrants. I mean, you don't see them demonstrating in upstate New York at the Canadian border. Hey, we got to stop them damn Canadians from coming over here. You don't hear them say that. And I can assure you, there is no big security concerns along the U.S.-Canadian border. They're a little more watchful now. And I'm going to tell you, that's really because of the fear of terrorism, okay? But since most of our fears about terrorism now are ingrown, homegrown, so they don't know who's worried about Canada. But man, you've come from Africa or the Caribbean or Central or South America, woo! And you got that black or brown skin, oh my God. And even there, a point can be made about the way we do immigration in the United States. But instead, remember, you got two parties here in this country. I know, yeah. Oh, we need to have third and fourth parties. Well, look, right now, in this point of history, you got two parties, Republican, Democrat. Right now, the Republican Party, for the last several years, they seem to be out to destroy the United States. They are out to destroy the constitutional order of this country. Okay? Right now, the greatest threat that America has is the Republican Party. Now, I know some people are not going to like that, but always remember the truth is not there for you to like. The truth is there for you to read, to study, to learn from. And right now, we are in that position. As I was saying about those so-called Republican-based voters, you are basically talking about the white working class, right? And they are right. They have been shafted. White working class folks have been shafted, just like black working class folks, Hispanic working class folks, Asian working class. Hey, the working class has been screwed, right? But see, what really bugs me about this whole Republican base thing is that these same people who talk about, we have been screwed. But see, they want to turn around and they want to point the finger at everybody and everything except the party that they vote for. Now, I was one of those Democrats. I was never, down with NAFTA, okay? Let's understand something. America means immigrant. You might not like that. You might not want to hear it. But I am so tired of trying to debate with people that whatever you say, you say something to them, and they come back at you with what they don't like. We're talking historical facts here. We're not talking about like or dislike, whether you like chocolate or vanilla. We're talking about what has happened, okay, over the last, how old is this country? About 225, 230 years, okay? This country means immigrant. Now that immigration has been, at times, people coming here for a better life, people having been forced to have to come here. But be that as it may, they're immigrants. I descended from people, for the most part, who were forced to come here, right? My friend from when I was in the Navy, right? Martin O'Malley, his people came over in the 1840s when the Irish had that potato famine. Okay, the Polish kids I served with, right? Some of them were Jewish. Generally speaking, they all had the same problem, being a part of the underclass in Eastern Europe, as they came over here. Even the indigenous Americans. Science tells us, and biology tells us, that they originally came from Asia, across the Bering Straits. So this whole business about, oh, yo, we gotta stop immigrants. You sound like a damn fool. All right? We're not like, they say, well, in other countries they have this. Look, we're not other countries, number one. Number two, if you're going to compare us to other democracies, don't. Because, quite frankly, we are a lot less democratic than we like to think that we are. Okay? The way we run our two-party system, by the way, is responsible for a large part of that. Because the Democrats should have stomped on Trump way back, and they didn't do it. Do I think that Hillary got a raw deal in 2016? Yes, she did. But to a large extent, it's her own fault, because she should have fought back and fought back hard. She's never gone to jail for anything, right? Never been indicted. And quite frankly, Trump, because of this electoral college bullshit, and that's what it is, bullshit, but because of that, Trump was able to win his election to the presidency. Now, tell me something. He was in the White House for 4 years, right? I think for most of that time, he was in the White House, and he had the House of Representatives. So, you know, and as we know, he's not a little weak kitten. He's a weak man, okay? But when he wants to get strong, he gets strong. Why didn't he, if he had so much to say about the Clintons, both of them, when he was president, he could have dealt with that then. So what the hell is the problem? You know, I am so tired of hearing this business about, oh, well, now they're persecuting, not prosecuting, but persecuting Trump, and they didn't persecute Bill or Hillary. And that's a bunch of crap, because if he felt that strongly about it, he could have, open up the files or whatever, and let's see what really happened at Whitewater and all those other garbage. But he didn't do it because there was nothing there. And these people who are saying this nonsense now, they're trying to compare what happened with the Clintons with what this guy Trump has done, what he himself has done. Understand it. This guy has taken top secret information He has spread it around his acquaintances, his friends, okay? He has had top secret documents stored where? In a freaking bathroom next to the toilet. I mean, who does that? Yeah. And now I am saying this. I believe in the end we will find out that Trump sold top secret information to the Saudi Arabians. And, you know, naturally, Putin has, you know, given information to Putin. Okay? And I just want people to understand that. This is not about persecuting Trump. This is about prosecuting. Prosecuting is what you do when you are taking a case against someone because you feel that they have broken the law and that you feel you have the proof to back it up. Then you have a prosecution. And in American prosecution, you go up to the court, right? You have a trial of 12 fellow citizens. And that's where it's all decided. All the facts are brought out. And I think that that is an excellent thing because when we were talking earlier about who's equal and who's not equal, well, that's what this whole thing is about. Yeah, he was president, so what? If anything, the shame of it is the fact that you were blessed by the way our American system works. You were blessed to be able to run and win high public office. You should have respected that office and you should have respected yourself. Because anybody that knows anything about you knows that you were not fit to be president of the United States. You never were. Frankly, you were not fit to go there as a tourist. But what happens? You get that marvelous opportunity, and what do? You primed your own pockets. And this whole business about Hunter Biden, what the hell has Hunter Biden got to do with a damn thing? I didn't vote for Hunter Biden. I voted for his dad. I didn't vote for him. I've never met Hunter. I have met his dad. I don't recall anybody saying anything in my house about, yeah, I'm Hunter Biden, vote for me. So what the hell does he have to do with anything? I know that Hunter, like so many of us, at one time or another had a drug and alcohol problem. I understand how he lost, I believe it was his mom and his sister. And he went through hell. And unfortunately, that's what happens. You go through traumatic, horrible experiences, it leaves a mark on you. And the way some people deal with that sort of thing is they, drugs or alcohol. But that's nothing, how should I say, that's nothing unusual. It's not good. But that doesn't make the man a monster or anything. Oh, and by the way, you've had plenty of representatives of the people that basically indulged in drug use or alcohol use. That's not, and especially within their own families. And I think that is really small of people on the Republican side to constantly keep throwing up Hunter Biden. But you never hear them talk about the $2 billion that Saudi Arabia gave Donald's son-in-law. What was that all about? Some kind of real estate promotion or something? Yeah, right, says you. Okay. But this guy, Trump, he takes our top secret documents. He's, look at me, look at what I got, look at what I have access to. That's number one. Number two, we have no idea what type of deals were made behind the scenes. Now, we already know, and I mean we already know that this guy, when it comes to guarding America's secrets, he has diarrhea of the mouth. It's been proven again and again that he cannot keep his mouth shut. Now, as far as whether or not he would not keep his mouth shut for pay, my personal opinion, I think that he would sell his own mother if the price was right, knowing Donald's history. But see, what makes me angry about these folks out there in the heartland, okay, I mean, that's what they call themselves, we're the heartland, we're the real Americans. So this guy could possibly have sat up, shot off his mouth, and caused your son, your daughter, your boyfriend, your husband, your cousin, your nephew, your uncle, whomever, to get his head blown off. Why? Because the information that Donald has been so free with, that's what they teach you in counterintelligence. You have no idea who's out there. That's why you keep your mouth shut until you know that you are in a secure environment. But as we see, Donald, he's up there having people have chocolate cake at his hotel while he's discussing about an attack. I think he bombed the spot in Syria or something of that nature. And he was basically, showing everything that we do, how we did it. And these people are just his damn guests. So if the guy there, Donald would never sell America, you don't know what the hell that man would do. We've already seen what he has done. And that should be warning enough. And see, that's what really, I have a real problem trying to take these so-called heartland followers of Donald Trump. I have a hard time taking those folks seriously. The threats to violence? Yeah. Because, ignorance and violence go together, like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, right? So that's not surprising. But thoughtful, deliberative, no. That does not go well with ignorance. And that's the problem that we have here. Now, many of these things that the working class we love Trump so much because my life is crap. They took the jobs away. Yeah, I told you, I never saw NAFTA as being a good idea, the way that it was done. But most of this stuff about being able to, these corporations being able to take whole industries and what have you and move it someplace overseas, that was done by the people that you vote for. All these red states that claim that they love Trump so much because he, quote, fights for them, and they vote Republican. Well, most of your problems come from the Republican Party. I haven't seen Democrats trying to stop people from getting clean drinking water. I've seen the Republicans do that. I haven't seen Democrats try to hack away at veterans' benefits. We just had an example just the other day when we were going over that budget ceiling thing. Republicans were, yeah, sure, we'll we'll dump the veterans off the back of the bus. What the hell? And then run over them. They came right out and said it. So don't, see, that's why I say this business about, yeah, there is a point. Working class has been getting screwed. And I buy that. Because it's true. I know it's true. I'm born and raised in this country. I know it's true. I've seen what's happened to the working class in this country and to the, middle class. But don't try and blame it on immigrants. Don't try and blame it on people of color. And because what you're doing, basically, you're saying is that the struggle to end racism is responsible for your crappy situation in life. And see, that's what Trump and most of the Republicans running for president, that's what they would have you believe. And that ain't so. It's truly not so. What you need to do is to educate yourself. You need to stop letting the people use words to make you afraid. Only people who are scared and who have something to hide want to close down libraries, want to take literature out of schools, because they have something to hide. And I'll tell you what they have to hide. They want to hide the fact that if the white working guys and the people of color who go out there and work every day, if these guys put their heads together, they would realize, hey, I'm not your problem and you're not my problem. The problem is these bastards that basically have this system set up so that it only works, I don't know, for the top 2-3%. And the hell with the rest of us. That is, like that clown DeSantis in Florida. Oh, I'm going to get to him in a minute. But see, that's what this whole thing, this whole game is about. I say game because I use that term because you got to look at things in terms of strategy. It's not just blacks and Hispanics that live in toxic waste dumps. You have a lot of white working class Americans that suffer that same environmental, as far as I'm concerned, environmental murder. Okay? So let's say I'm a black guy, I get together with this white guy, and he's going through the same thing. His kids got asthma and blah, blah, blah. And we get together and we say, well, we're going to find a candidate that is not going to vote to allow these things to happen to people just because they are poor. Now, Martin Luther King, he could integrate all the damn toilets and bathrooms and lunch counters that he wanted. But what really caused him to get slaughtered was because he started attacking the system that creates the poverty in this country. And if I'm wrong, somebody explain to me, why is it that in America, the quality of life for the average working person is so much more horrendous than it is for your average European worker? Well, one thing is because in European countries, working people, they're not going to put up with it. They won't put up with it. Here in America, we put up with it because there's so many different racial and sexual and social things floating around, so that people basically, our eye is taken off the ball. Well, you don't want to have too good of a Medicaid system, right? Because then you're going to have all of these blacks and Hispanics basically taking up the, not going out to work. See? Same thing with why don't we have a decent unemployment system in this country? Now, you have it in some states, but you take a look at those red states. And they'll say something, in the red states, they'll say something like, oh, well, we want to pay people to work, not to stay home. Well, if people are so lazy, and especially when you talk about people of color being so lazy, I haven't been to a job fair yet where I have not seen hundreds and hundreds of people basically there to, try and get a job. It's phony. It's fake. You want to talk, did Trump and his followers love fake news? Well, that's fake news. People in this country, all people, I don't care if they're good people, bad people, bastards, I don't care. But people work hard here in America. We don't work smarter, but we work damn hard. So this idea about, oh, well, these are commies. Yeah, that's another thing. Anything that you say that might help working people in this country. I'm not just talking about, helping minorities or people of color. I'm talking about helping people in general, black, white, green, tangerine. Don't make a difference. Anytime you talk about that, they're going to, he's a commie. Remember how they used to do that to Obama? He's a commie. Oh, he's a socialist. You hear that idiot down there in Florida saying that same crap now. And you see what happens every time. They thought they was going to be bold with it and say, well, we want to get rid of Social Security. And you saw how the pot blew off the lid with that one. And see, this is what the Republican Party has become. In 64, I believe it was, or 61, Barry Goldwater, the patron saint of Arizona Republicans, he basically told Nixon, and he told the Republicans, his fellow Republicans, you got to go where the ducks are. Now, basically what he was saying was, listen, we have to protect the racist in the Democratic Party. Why? Because of the fact we can gain those people. And to a large extent, as some Republicans who have left the Republican Party will tell you, that's exactly what began to happen, slowly but surely. They substituted themselves for the old Dixiecrat parties. All right? This Republican Party has nothing to do with Abraham Lincoln. This party is about keeping people divided. And Republicans, to a large extent, they feel that they have to do that because their policies, to most Americans, their policies are so disgusting, okay, that they feel the only way they can get their policies enacted is to make white people fear gay people, trans people, blacks and Hispanics. And all you black and Hispanic folk out there who think that you're gonna, I'm gonna see what the Republicans have to say. Maybe I'll vote for one of them, Yeah, you keep thinking that, buddy. You're a fool. Same thing with my Jewish and Asian friends. Because the base, there's a segment of the base that wants to see you hung up by a lamppost. And you need to realize that. This is the Republican Party. How do I know? Well, I was born and raised in the Republican Party. I even voted Republican myself once or twice. But no, my parents were big-time Republicans and civil rights activists. That shows you just how much the Republican Party has changed. And that's only been, what, about the last 30 years or so? Now, all the major things that we have facing our country, and what do you have? Those Republicans who are trying to raise money for themselves, all right, by running for president. What are they about? They're out there. Now, remember, these are people who are running for the job of being the head law enforcement officer of the land. The job of the president is to enforce the mandates of the Constitution. That is what you are there for, right? Read the preamble of the Constitution, okay? Also, read the first 10 amendments. There's not that, oddly enough, there's really not that much a president can do on his own, which is what I tell my black and Hispanic friends when they complain about how come Joe Biden ain't do this, that, or the other, right? Because Joe Biden is not a dictator, didn't want to be a dictator. Yes, he is a politician. But that's what you have in a democracy. You have politicians. If you want to maybe clean it up a little bit, you have statesmen, but you don't have dictators. The civil rights, the voting rights thing is something I have in mind. Personally, I think what he should have done is declared an emergency, because you have certain states that they feel that they have a right to take away and prevent people's right to vote. Okay? Biden don't want to have, I guess he didn't want to call out the troops. If I were in that office, I would have. The same way that great Republican Dwight Eisenhower did. Okay? But it's supposed to be like that, because you remember all this, when the Constitution was written, the revolution had been over only about 10 years. Okay? They had just rebelled from somebody practicing absolute authority. So with these little characters who run around, well, yeah, I'm sticking with Trump, I'm supporting Trump. And you know damn well, between you and I, you know damn well the guy is guilty. But you're going to stick to him anyway, because you have been so busy convincing people that, oh, well, if we don't support Trump, them immigrants and them black folks, they'll take over everything. What shows your ignorance of American history, and especially when you're talking about the blacks and Hispanics. So we've been here longer than most of y'all have. Okay? First settlement in what came to be America was in 1565 in a place called St. Augustine, Florida. Populated by indigenous Americans, Spaniards, and Africans. So how in the hell am I going to replace you? I've already been here, right? To a large extent, you came here after I did. So what the hell are you talking about? But that's what happens when you open your mouth without thinking, which has now become a Republican way of life. And these people, you take somebody like DeSantis, right? This guy, Italian, right? Italian American. God bless the Italian people. God bless the Italian American people. Because all these stars that you see out here now, in the entertainment field, for example, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Italian Americans and for Jews. Now, you may not like to hear that, but that's true. Those are just the facts. And what bugs me about DeSantis is like, hey, man, your grandparents were told that they were not even white. Not only that they could not be real full-blooded Americans, but that they were not even white people. The governor of Louisiana in the 1890s, I can't remember the exact year, said that the Italians were a criminal people lower than the Negro. Now he was full of crap on both counts. But this is the this is the America that your grandparents, or is his grandparents or his great-grandparents, but either one, this is the America your grandparents came to. And then for you to turn around and play with people, refugees, people seeking asylum. Asylum means, please, for the love of God, help me. They're trying to kill my children, my wife, and me, and we are starving. Please help me. That's what asylum means. And what are you? A descendant of asylum seekers, of desperate people. What do? You play games with them. You stick them on a bus and bus them to Texas, or you put them on a jet plane and you fly them to Massachusetts because you want to make a point of getting the libs. What kind of man are you? I'm ashamed that someone like you was able to be a naval officer in my Navy. I know you were just a lawyer, okay, with JAG, or with the staff advocates, general's office and what have you, but you were still a naval officer. If I saw you down the street 15, 20 years ago, I would still have to salute you. And you, my friend, are a disgrace to the uniform that we both wore. Because you were a liar. You were lying to yourself. And if you can lie to yourself, you can lie about any goddamn thing else. So we know right now you're not fit to be president because you don't even want to follow the laws against somebody who is basically, Trump is basically a career criminal. And you don't even want to follow the laws. You don't have enough sense to say, well, listen, it's in our court system. We'll see what happens. You are the governor of a state who wants to be president of the United States. And you can't even believe in your own country's laws. The idea that no man is above the law. If you can't behave properly as a candidate, Why does anyone think that you could behave properly as a president? I think we've already had enough of people, of presidents who have no dignity or respect for the office that they hold. We don't need you to be another one. The same thing, what's that guy, the black guy in South Carolina? I must be getting old or something, because with people that really disgust me and I'm in conversation, then their mind, excuse me, their name, it just slips me, you know? That clown, and I do mean clown, or Sambo. I don't say Uncle Tom. I did my research in Uncle Tom. Okay, the person that deserves the denigration is really the character in Uncle Tom's Cabin called Sambo. And that's exactly what that black person is, who's running. I don't think he knows what country he lives in. And as far as Nikki Haley, my God, talk about taking down the Confederate flag. It took 9 black people to be murdered in their church right after a church service, a prayer service, that the murderer was invited to sit down and participate in. And that's what it took to pull down that damn Confederate flag. So I don't know, she has no courage. You know, you worked for a guy all that time, and then you're going to turn around and say, well, if he runs for president, I'll support him. What the hell is, oh, and Pence. Man, listen. Yo, Pence, Penny, the guy almost got you and your wife killed. Do you understand that? He was trying to have you and your wife murdered. That gallows that was put up there, that wasn't put up there for laughs. You know, what kind of people are you? And I'm speaking to the ones with, you know, college degrees, experience in government that are in the Republican Party. Because you are a bigger criminal than the people at the base of the Republican Party, because technically you people are supposed to know better. You're supposed to have some knowledge of history. You're supposed to at least have a basic modicum of proper English and how to speak and what law is. And you're groveling behind this guy Trump. And I just don't understand it. I really don't. You are the sons and daughters, well, not in Nikki Haley's case, but basically you folks are the sons of the men that stormed the beach of Normandy, that fought their way through Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, you know, fighting at El Alamein in Africa. Your fathers and grandfathers beat the Nazis. We hung guys at the end of World War II that spoke like the way Trump is speaking now. And I would like to ask the Democrats, why do you allow this guy to constantly make threats? Aren't you tired of this? Aren't you tired of this guy threatening the American people, threatening our judicial officers and their families? When are we going to have the backbone to say, look, you shoot your mouth off like that one more time, you're going to jail? Because threatening a federal official, that is a felony offense. That's the problem. That's why it seems that our republic is basically teetering on the brink. Because Trump should have had his ears pinned back in 2015. And you didn't do it. And see, Democrats, we already have one political party that hates the Constitution. Now, are you going to be the political party that didn't stand up and fight to defend it? That's what you have to ask. And sometimes you just got to take to the airwaves and just say what, and speak the truth. Because we have a fight coming. It seems that Trump, it will not leave us alone. Well, you know what you have to do with bullies? You have to stand up to them. And America, that's what you need to do. Otherwise, you are not going to have an America. And I don't think, those of us who are still sane, I don't think we want to see that happen. I fought for this country. I'm a disabled veteran, service-connected. I don't want to see the country that I gave my best for, and which a whole lot of other guys not only gave their best, but gave their lives. Those ideals. I don't want to see a gutless, draft-dodging clown like Trump. I don't want him and people like him to overthrow what we have been fighting to make more perfect over the last 200 some odd years. I don't want to see us lose this democratic republic that we have. Folks, thank you so much for allowing me to come into your homes. And this is Bob Gumbs with the Concerned Forum. See you next week, same time, same place, same channel. Take care of each other. Peace. Okay, we're good. Yeah?